Marta Villegas, sales clerk at Navy Pier in Chicago, reads
Jack by Carl Sandburg. Jack was a swarthy, swaggering son of a gun. He worked 30 years on the railroad, 10 hours a day, and his hands were tougher than sole leather. He married a tough woman, and they had 8 children. And the women died, and the children grew up, and they went away and wrote the old man every 2 years. He died in the poorhouse, sitting on a bench in the sun, telling reminiscences to other old men whose women were dead and children scattered. There was joy on his face when he died, as there was joy on his face when he lived. He was a swaggering son of a gun.
I'm Joan Small. We are right now sitting at the Chicago Cultural Center, which is a downtown venue, a downtown location where Chicagoans and visitors can come and partake of free programming and exhibitions.
Question for Joan Small, cultural promoter, and other Chicagoans. Who's the personality you'd like to chat with now or have dinner with tonight?
Oh. It's not an artist, and this person is a Chicagoan. It's funny, it's outside of the field of the arts. I would love to have a conversation with Michael Jordan. I think his personality is quite unique. I think the image that he portrays is really quite positive. I think he has managed to balance celebrity and financial success and physical prowess and bring all of that to bear in a very balanced lifestyle with a good set of values. And the reason I'd like to talk to him is that I just recently met his mother, and I really would like to find out, just to really support my suspicions that what makes his life so balanced and makes his personality and his successes so good, and make him so successful, is that I think he had very strong family values, and I think that his parents reared him quite well. I think they instilled a good sense of who he was, good sense of integrity, and for that reason I'd like to talk with him. I'd like to sit down, not about basketball, not at all about basketball, but about who he is and how basketball has made him who he is, and what has made him successful in that way, and what has made him a successful personality. He's probably one of the more fascinating and successful personalities of our time. I don't know that many of us, I think we celebrate him because of his basketball success, but I think there's so much more to that man than that. And for that reason, I'd like to talk with him.
You know, it's funny, most people associate sports with a certain age that they were at, and they formed their idols based around their age. So I think in terms of people like Otto Graham, who was a great quarterback, Johnny Unitas, that was a quarterback. And my idols in football at that time were the quarterbacks, because that's what I played in high school. So have been a lot of great athletes before and since, but I think of those two people as being if I could sit down and talk to them, it would probably be very interesting. Well, I think the question would be, how do they perceive the game today versus when they played it? Both the attitude of the players, the technique of the sport, and to picture the differences that occurred between those times. In the time I grew up, it seems to me that it was a lot more fun. Today it's more organized, it's more money-oriented, it's more a profession versus a dream. And I think those people were dreamers of how good they could be. Today's athletes are much more centered around how much money they can make, it seems to me.
I just recently was a guest of the Japanese government in Japan, and I would find that a very fascinating conversation, although I think my English ties would probably go to Tony Blair, because I find him a fascinating leader. Mm-hmm. And probably for not the best of reasons is that the natural inclination is whenever things change and it gets hard, as it has in Europe, is to go back. Mm-hmm. The problem is, in an economy that's constantly changing, you can never go back. And I come from a region of the country, the Midwest, remember, was hit hardest by the recessions in the early 80s. Right. In Detroit, when I was growing up in college semesters in the early 80s, it was 25% unemployment rates where I was looking for a job.
A personality person that I'd like to chat with now, If I could, I'd actually like to chat with John Kennedy.
Really?
The late John Kennedy,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
That would be the person I'd most like to chat with now. I would talk about American politics. I would talk about politics in Washington and Chicago. Well, I think the interesting thing about him is that even though his family has very historic ties to the United States, his mindset was a little more independent, which reminds me of a lot of the residents in my area. We are very independent-minded, and we have a mixture of cultures and ethnicity that lives together in the city that I don't think any other area in the city can boast of.
Maybe one of the authors from Chicago, maybe Saul Bellow. I'm not exactly sure if he's from here, but or one of the great musicians like Buddy Guy, someone like that.